All right, so listen up, raindrops. Now, you know I did my greatest housewives of all time to much fanfare. And I named Lenithia Monique Johnson Leaks number one. And it was well deserved. So now, after doing my top 5 house husbands of all time, I am presenting you all with my number 1 candidate. And that is none other than Patricia himself. That's right, Peter Thomas.
Not Patricia. I'm number 1 on your top list, and then you introduce me as Patricia. I cannot wait to see.
You know I love you, Peter. Yeah. Listen, I think you're the greatest husband of all time. I think you're... Who's my top 5? Okay. Number 5, I gave it to Todd Tucker.
Okay.
Number 4, Apollo Nida.
Wow.
Number 3, Greg Leaks. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. I love him to death.
Me too. Number 2, Joe Gorga.
Oh, so there's other shows.
Oh, yeah, listen. Look, this is no shade. Atlanta Housewives has presented some of the greatest husbands in reality TV history. And you are also, Peter, I also named you one of my favorite all-time greatest reality stars. I haven't done that full list yet, but just know you're also on that. Wow. So how does it feel to know that the king of reality TV has crowned you the greatest house husband of all time?
Well, I don't know if I don't know how to take it. You know what I'm saying? That mean I did a good job, Carlos King? That mean I did a great job? Because you just called me Patricia. That mean I have a peach also. You know?
I mean, look, I think you're a legend. So one thing about my listeners is they love to hear backstory as relates to, like, how did this person get started? What happened to this person, you know, when they left the show? So I want to start by asking you, look, you and Cynthia came on The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 3, along with Phaedra and Apollo. So before all of that, a lot of people know this, but a lot may not. You were like this power executive who was rubbing elbows with the Hollywood elite. You were responsible for this amazing conference called How to Be Down in Miami, Florida.
How can I be down?
How can I be down? Let's go, Brandy. So how can I be down? Yes. And Cynthia at that time was like this very respected supermodel. And you two brought celebrity to the franchise. So what made you guys go into doing this show? Did you do this show because Cynthia wanted to do it?
No, well, Cynthia did not want to do the show. She knew nothing of the show. I was running had a upscale supper club restaurant in Atlanta at the time called Uptown. And one of the cats that worked for me, he told us about the show and that they were casting. And I looked into it. And, to me at that point, Cynthia was, declining as a print model. The business was changing. She had just moved to Atlanta to be with me. And when I looked at the show, she was scared. She was scared when you know what I'm saying? She was scared. Those are not our typical friends, you know what I'm saying? So she didn't want to do it. She was terrified. And I think one of the executive producers at the time, they knew who Cynthia Bailey was. They were fans. And, they just, say, yo, you should talk about who you are. You've seen much more places than most of these people. You've been around some elite mogul in the entertainment industry, and you should talk about they found out she used to date Russell Simmons. She had a kid with Leon, the actor. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much. It was so deep with her, and she was dating me at the time. Which, yeah, when you mentioned, I I'm the one who created How Can I Be Down Music Conference. I executive producer the Source Awards on UP, and I've done some stuff. I've worked at Def Jam as a consultant for years. So I've been in the industry for a while. So they thought it would be a great dynamic. People that have real careers to come on the show. Not just people who's pretending to have careers in the industry. Started
Ooh,
Candy at the time, I believe. You know what I'm saying? She had a real career.
yes.
So they thought it was a cool idea for us to come onto the show, and I had to talk her into it. And the first time they tape her, it didn't really, she wasn't impressive. But, I sat her down and said, yo, you got to tell these people who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing. And she went in. She talked about her trips to Monaco and meeting the prince and all type of shit. And it came together real quick for her.
No, that's very true. No, so that's some exclusive tea. So when Cynthia first came on the show, Peter is right. We tape tons of footage to really make sure if you're worthy of holding that coveted peach. Okay, Cynthia wasn't amazing when she first got on. It took her a minute. No shade. We all loved Peter. We knew that Peter Thomas was a star. And what's interesting is I remember being around you and Cynthia in those earlier tapings. And you definitely was like the uncredited producer that season because you used to coach and prep
Yeah.
Cynthia.
I think I did that for like at least 3 years before she.
Not three. Oh, Peter. One of the things that I think is interesting is obviously you mentioned, like you said, Cynthia dated Russell Simmons. She had a child with Leon.
Yeah.
One thing I don't think people know about you is you also dated some very famous women. One of them being Nia Long and Peppa from Salt and Peppa.
Yeah. Two Scorpios.
What was it like dating those women back in the day, Peter? Because they were the it girl of Black Hollywood.
Well, Nia's damn. Both of them are island girls. You know, that probably was born in New York, Brooklyn. Both of them, I believe. Um, Pepper was fun. She's adventurous. She likes challenge. She likes to challenge you. Pepper's like a tomboy. You know what I'm saying? So it was fun, traveling the world with Pep. Nia, on the other hand, she was real soft. She was nice. She's feisty at the same time. Like to fight if somebody stepped to her. She's a Brooklyn girl. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see them the way people see them. I didn't see them from the perspective of how big they were as uh, stars at the time. It's just people that I was kicking it with, and so they were fun. I mean, Nia, I had a lot of fun with Nia. She was great. Two really good people, to be honest with you.
Are you still friends with them?
I don't see them as often. I think like, I talked to Pepper a couple of months ago because she live in Vegas, and I reached out to her because I was going out there, and I didn't see her when I got out there, but we talked for a while back and forth. I seen her on Growing Up Hip Hop. You know what I'm saying? And I seen her daughter. Like I remember when she and Trisha got that little girl. You know what I'm saying? So, and then 17 years, 18 years went by. I didn't see the baby girl until I saw her on TV. And I haven't spoken to Nia in years.
Now, what was interesting is Regina King was on Watch What Happens Live years ago. It was the episode where her and Jack Gay got sloppy drunk.
Yeah.
And Andy mentioned Peter Thomas, and she gave this great reaction about, oh, honey, we all know Peter Thomas. Peter, we talk about Oscar, Emmy winner Regina King.
Her husband was a friend of mine, and Ian was a friend of mine. We was in the music industry together. So like when I live in LA, Regina and Ian and little Ian, who just passed, our rest his, may God rest his, may you rest in peace. Her only child, he used to be friends with my daughter Blaze. So they all used to do sleepover. I used to go to Regina's house to pick up Blaze, or Regina would come to my house to pick up little Ian. And we all used to go out and hang out together on dates, like double dates when I was dating Juanita at the time, Blaze's mom. I used to live in Beverly Hills at that time.
You have many stories, Peter Thomas. We need that autobiography. So going back to Atlanta Housewives, when you was a part of that show, you obviously had a very integral storyline into the show. And I will go on record as saying you were a part of the reason why that show became a hit. Because you were the only person, to me, besides Kenya, I would say besides Kenya, you were not afraid of Nene. So knowing that obviously husbands at that time were more background players, what made you stand out and go toe-to-toe with one of the queen bees of reality television?
Well, I mean, we was on the show, and like she, like, again, Nene is 6 foot tall, flat footed. You know what I'm saying? So, when she
Not
put on heels,
flat-footed.
she tower everybody when she put on heels, and she got a reckless smile. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people just didn't even want to be in that to tape with her because they feel like they're never going to win that scene. I couldn't wait to tape with her because she talked way too much shit. You know what I'm saying? And I know Cynthia was kind of afraid of her, to be honest with you. So I know if we're going to be on this show, somebody got to take on Nene. I'm like, yo, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? But or like the guys were never significant. You know what I'm saying? The guys was just there, and I'm like, why they call the show the Atlanta Housewife if they don't really want to show the guy's personality? It didn't make any sense to me, and I believe I had a couple of conversations with you about it, and you got what I was saying, and then you start going, you went against the grain, and you start introducing the guys more and make the guys participate more. And that's when people actually got interested in the show. Because all they would see all the time is a bunch of women just doing this all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So by the guys getting involved, it adds different dynamics to it. You know what I'm saying? And Apollo and I, the first time we met, we were going to fight because, his wife was saying I say some shit that some interview I did with Uptown Magazine, and they asked me what I think about the girls, and I was just being honest. You know what I'm saying? And she was offended. Maybe because I didn't like her from day one. Never did.
You didn't like Phaedra day one. Why is that?
I think she's the kind of person who throw the rock and hide her hands. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this chick is messy as hell because she would throw the rock, hide her hands, and then push Portia to go do her dirty work. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy.
Oh, Peter, you about to make Black Twitter go crazy, and I love it. So, what you're saying is so true in the sense of so I became the showrunner season 6. I became the executive producer of the show season 6. Mm-hmm. You and I had a conversation, and me and Todd Tucker had a conversation, and even Apollo, I think at the time, we all said it's important that the men have a voice. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I named you 3 my greatest house husbands of all time is because, and I'm going to go on record saying this, and I don't care who I offend because I'm being honest. You made Cynthia interesting. Apollo made Phaedra interesting. And because of Todd Tucker, Kandi's storyline became more interesting. We got a chance to see Mama Joyce at her glory because of Todd. And in my opinion, Todd being a part of Kandi's world really made her storyline fascinating because Todd came in as a producer, and you and Apollo really were so entertaining to watch that I made the executive decision, and I got in a lot of trouble for this. I made sure that you men taped scenes together and that we did more couples events. And because of that is the reason why I created Love and Marriage. Because I strongly believe people like to see men and women have conversations. And that started with you and I talking.
I definitely think so. There's so much more dynamics when you put the husband in play. You know what I'm saying? More men and women would watch the show together. Before, it's just a lot of women watching the show, and the ratings. We could clearly see how the ratings jump when the three of us got into it. You know what I'm saying? Got into the show and you start showing the guys more, and that makes a lot of the girls upset too because we were taking camera time away from them. You know what I'm saying? That's why Nene told me to stay out of woman business. Why? Because I'm taking more camera time. Time with me. That's why. You know what I'm saying? I got some shit I want to promote too. You know what I'm saying? You know, she didn't like that shit at all. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, the woman. What the fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's called The Housewife of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And we are relevant. And with just you giving me just like a little push, I ran with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like every time Nene open her mouth and say some reckless shit, you guys have us all wired up. You know what I'm saying? So you can hear her mumbling in the background, like, yo, take the camera to Peter. Ask him how he feel about what just happened. And I couldn't wait to tell y'all motherfuckers how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And they hated me for that shit. But it was some real shit. It makes people really want to watch the show.
No, and what's interesting too, Peter, behind the scenes, what people don't know is Cynthia used to be mad at you.
Yeah.
For what she felt like you were taking away scenes from her and making the scenes about you and interfering in her relationship with Nene.
Yeah. I thought that was the dumbest shit ever. Because I think the whole purpose why we was on this shit is because of the money that they was paying her and the exposure that we were getting as a couple. So the more we tape, either myself or her, because they never was going to tape me by myself. It's always in our house with her there and her and I talking about it. But like when the cameras are gone, she felt the wrath of what was coming next from the girls. Like, especially Nina. Her and Nina, I used to wake up every morning there on the phone. I used to go to bed every night on there on the phone. I'm like, yo, why you talking to the enemy? You know what I'm saying? While you talking to the enemy, she's gonna like talk you out of whatever we're doing. I think Nina used to talk to Cynthia that much to tell her to check me. You know what I'm saying? Tell Peter,
Oh.
tell Peter to sit down, stand down. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? Now people want to watch this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it happened quick, and a lot of them didn't know how to deal with it. I think the
No.
smartest person on this old reality thing, a female that I've met in the 7 or 8 years that I was there, the smartest female on the show is Kenya. She got it.
Ooh, that's very controversial. So wait, you're saying the smartest woman in reality TV that you've met is Kenya Moore.
Kenya Moore, by far.
Tell me why.
Because she gets this shit. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't take it personal. She understands that this is a job. You know what I'm saying? She understands that in real life, most of these people she would never be friends with. You know what I'm saying? And she understands what comes along with being on camera on television. You know what I'm saying? I remember once we asked, I think myself or Cynthia asked Tyler Perry about this reality stuff, and they said, "Yo, whatever you do, stay on TV if you want to be successful." You know what I'm saying? Make sure that the camera loves you, and make sure that you utilize it to the full potential. And I only had to hear him say that once. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, this shit is a business. I love the way Kenya look at it. Kenya look at it as a business. I remember Kenya, we used to, first of all, it's not scripted. So when you guys set us up to do a scene, you know, Kenya would walk past me and say, I'm about to blow your fucking head off. You know what I'm saying? And I really love that. You know what I'm saying? And after she got me on camera, I would just look at her and give her like, "Oh, you got me, nigga. I can't wait to get you back." You know what I'm saying? So to me, that shit was fun. It was more fun for me than anything else. And I understand, like I just opened Bar One on Memorial Drive, the new brand, and people would watch a show, and people that I don't know, every day I would hear my name them 100 times a day, and people would, because of who I was representing myself. So those people would translate to be customers in my location, and I see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm the cat that used to be on the street slinging. You know what I'm saying? So this was no difference to me. I see it. They walk through the door, and I'm like, oh shit, this could be big. You know what I'm saying? I got it, and a lot of them didn't get it. I don't think my ex-wife got it at the time. And every year these girls, no, but they don't have no guaranteed contract that they're coming back. So every year they would sit around and wait to see if they get that email. You know what I'm saying? And Cynthia used to sit around like, am I gonna get called back? Because year after year, your money go from a quarter million to a half a million to 750,000 to a million, and it just keep on going up if you keep on coming back. And I used to laugh watching her damn near bite her nails if she's coming back. I said, yo, there's nobody like me and you in this show. We're coming back. Stop stressing. You know what I'm saying? And it worked. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, even when I got my divorce with her, I tell her I want nothing. So I kind of leave $5 million on the table. So she should be enjoying that shit because I took nothing.
Would she pay you to appear on the show sometimes, like to tape
Not
scenes?
now. Well, everybody they have their glam squad, and they stylists, they hair and makeup people, and I used to take 15%. Whenever the check comes in, I would take 15% because I had to keep my shit up also. And the time that I was given to you guys was actually taking away time from my business. So our agreement was that I would take 15% after we pay all our household bills.
All right, Peter, you you deserved every penny because you were fantastic. And the beauty of that season is those seasons, I should say, is the relationship that you formed with Greg Leaks.
Yeah.
And obviously, Greg is no longer with us. And you and I obviously have personal conversations about his last days. Can you share with the audience about what those last moments you had with Greg? And is it true that you were with Greg when he had his last breath?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
Nini called me and let me know that it's not going to be here long. All right. And he was asking to see me. And I flew from Miami to Atlanta. And when I went into the house and they walked me into his bedroom where he was on the bed, because I'd seen him like 4 or 5 months before. He was at my venue in South Beach. You know what I'm saying? And he looked great. So I didn't know it took a turn. So, like 4, 5, 6 months later, when I went and see him on the bed, the guy was like 90 pounds. And everybody knew he was standing 300 at all times that I knew him. And he didn't even look the same. He looked different. I thought I was looking at a little East Indian man. You know what I'm saying? When I walked in, I'm like, God damn, who's that? His hair was straight, looked like he's straight out of East India, like Bangladesh. That's how he looked laying on the bed. And while I was there, they actually thought he was dying that day. And I dragged Apollo to come with me. You know what I'm saying? So both of us went in the room, and he held my hands. And he actually held my hands for around 45 minutes. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I hope you don't take this last breath holding my hands. That would fuck with me for my life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm there with him, and, they said, Greg Peter is here. And he kind of looked over at me because he couldn't really move. His muscles, they weren't really working. And he smiled and said, one of his friends bust out crying, oh my God, he's happy Peter is here. Get the fuck out of the room. Man, sad. So I was there with him, and I was just there, and Nene was there the whole time rubbing his feet. You know what I'm saying? Because he liked the way it feels. In his bedroom, the blinds was there, so they couldn't close the blinds because a lot of times he's looking outside because he's seeing real life outside. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know somebody's definitely not going to be here. So after an hour of us being in the room, people keep on saying different things to him, and he was trying to say something, and Nene went over to hear what he's saying, and he's like, she said, Peter's trying to tell you something. So I leaned over to him and I said, yo, Peter, look out for my wife. And I'm like, oh my God, he's dying and he's thinking about Nene, and it's like probably not going to even be here 10 more minutes. He doesn't know that. And when he said that to me, that I just broke apart. I fell apart. It was just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you kind of put yourself in those moments and how brave you're going to be in those moments, knowing that you're dying and you might not see tomorrow. So it was crazy. When I left there, I'm like, I'm never going back. And 3 days later, he passed.
Mm.
Yeah.
And obviously, when he said, look out for his wife, it's been said publicly that, you introduced Nene to her new boyfriend.
Mm.
Was that part of your commitment to making sure that you listen to Greg?
No, actually, like Yanni is a very stylish guy. He has a very charismatic personality. I know him because he live in Charlotte. I had the hot spot in Charlotte for several years. So every weekend I would see like Yanni and all his African friends would come and we all stay in the back of Sports One. And when you put on the Afro beats, we just have a lot of fun. Reggae and Afro beats, we'll just wild out. And I really love that guy. And then, like I love his style and then he become my stylist. I start buying all my suits from him, all my custom suits from him, custom shirts from him. And I never had a bad moment with him. I didn't know that him and Nene, wow, because he opened up in Atlanta, a store in Atlanta, and like all them Africans move on certain sets. So I didn't know that him and Nene had crossed paths. But he asked me, what do I think about it? I said, she's my sister. She's great. You know what I'm saying? But they already met. I didn't introduce them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so that's not so they already met.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the word on the street is that you introduced them together.
She didn't ask me about him. She knows that he was my friend. You know what I'm saying? And he's from Charlotte. But I think that's all she knows. You know what I'm saying? And she's the one who said, Pete, everybody's telling the story on the streets that everybody's saying that you put Yanni and myself together. And I said, yeah, I keep on hearing that. Everybody's talking about it. I said, the only thing I did was endorse that, like, he is my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the common denominator between both of them. So they would ask me things about, each other.
Is he the type of guy that you think Greg would appreciate that she moved on with?
Greg want Nina to be happy. Yanni is the perfect person for her because he makes her constantly laugh, and he's ambitious. You know what I'm saying? And he's far from being stupid. He's extremely bright. And international. He's not domestic. He's definitely international. And that's what she needs. She needs range. She needs to be around someone that's just not in one tunnel. And I think that's what she probably love about him, and he love how crazy she is. All the time with Yanni, I think I seen his wife maybe twice at my restaurant in Charlotte. She's always the stellar African queen. And when she comes around, she's different. She's definitely a queen. But I don't think that they had the best of situation. You know what I'm saying? So like when you're not happy and you're gonna seek or find happiness somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? You only got one life to live. You have to ask yourself, how do you want to live it? You know what I'm saying? That guy is full of life. You know what I'm saying? So if he wasn't happy and Nini's bringing joy to him, well, so be it.
Yeah, well, she wants Nene to bring her $100,000 because she filed a lawsuit saying you stole my man.
I thought that was funny as fuck.
Why?
Because his wife don't need $100,000. You know what I'm saying? It's more like I could only imagine how embarrassing it probably is for her, to be seeing these things on the blog and reading these things on the blog. She have a kid that's of age that he's going to see those things also. And like her friends, like those African girls stick together. So her friends probably see these things, and she just probably wanted to bust a shot. You know what I'm saying? She did. She didn't hit nothing, but she bust a shot.
Obviously, you and Greg had this amazing relationship up until his passing. When Todd came on the show, you, Todd, and Apollo and Greg was like this. You guys had this beautiful friendship and this beautiful relationship. And then obviously Apollo went to jail and things sort of transpired between, Candy, Phaedra that obviously affected the husbands.
Yeah.
So word on the street is that you, Apollo, and Todd almost got into a fight at an Atlanta nightclub. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about Apollo and Todd, but I remember I was at a club called Whiskey Mistress in Buckhead, and Todd, Apollo just came home. When he went to jail, he was in jail for 6 years. Okay, we were still doing the show, so when he came home, like, of course, I could only imagine him being in jail. People recognize him from the show, and every day he probably was, getting some kind of still question fellow inmates. So when he come home, uh, it's like time started again for him on the outside. So the only thing that he remembers what happened before you went in, and what happens before, and then when the feds come looking for all the stuff that he apparently bought with stolen money. Uh, some of the stuff was at my house, some of the stuff that was at Todd and Candy house, and like when they came looking for it, I heard that they was looking, so I took the shit out of my house. You know what I'm saying? And then I put it somewhere else. So when they come looking for it, it wasn't there. I think when they went to Candy house and Todd house, it was there. You know what I'm saying? I'm a street dude. So he lost all the shit that they had. The shit that was my house, I gave his people pick it up, and they did what they, did, and he had money. They sold it, and he had money from that. The shit that he probably had over there, the feds picked it up, and he couldn't sell shit. So it was kind of bitter beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So when he came out, that's where he left off, and that's where he began. And I was trying to explain to Todd that, listen, that's where he left off, and he's only speaking from his perspective. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no reason to have no beef with either one of them, but I understand the mentality of where he left off and where he began. You know what I'm saying? And when Todd seen me, like, he kind of like, psst, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck? What's that about? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I went up to talk to him, and his people was kind of like gathering around, like, but none of that didn't matter. I tell him, yo, dog, I don't have no beef with you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to respect this man, what he's saying, and you and him got to talk that out. And Todd was kind of mad. He's a cat from the Bronx. He's kind of mad that Apollo probably didn't call him direct to talk to him, but he was talking to anybody that would listen. And I understand why Todd was mad, but what the fuck that got to do with me? Because I'm rolling with Apollo? He just come home. He need somebody to help him. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I was trying to help him for him not to repeat what he did twice. He spent 12 years, 11 to 12 years in jail for damn near the same kind of crime. So I'm saying, dude, if you're coming home and you want to be a part of your kid's life and you want to show Phaedra that you have changed, you know what I'm saying? Because she's just not going to let you be around them, and you in some criminal shit and you're going to go back in. You know what I'm saying? What do you want it to do? You wanted to refab a house, you wanted to do a house. I took a couple of $100,000 and put it in his hand and tell him run with it. You know what I'm saying? Go do your thing. Don't go back down the same path. Find happiness doing something that's not going to put your ass in jail, basically. And I don't think he was getting that from anybody else. So another thing he was saying when he was locked away, Todd said he was going to have him, but I don't think it really happened that way for 5 years. But anytime he called me and he asked me for commissary money or to send this money to this person or that money to this person, I know he doesn't have it, and I know he's still trying to be a man. You understand what I'm saying? So I did it for him, you know. And when he came out, it was respect because I didn't thought you were going to be the one. I thought Todd was going to be the one. So probably that's where the beef stemmed from, But
So when y'all all saw each other, it was you, Todd, and Apollo together.
I can't. I think Apollo was in the joint that night, but I didn't like the way Tyler was coming at me because I personally didn't do nothing. But we're New Yorkers, so he's rolling with all this dudes from the Bronx and whoever he was rolling with, and he feel like I was rolling with Apollo, so he didn't have nothing for me, and words was exchanged, and we were up in each other's face. Yeah,
Y'all were up in each other's faces?
yeah, definitely in the club, definitely where people have to separate us. You know what I'm saying? Because we both men. You know what I'm saying? We're not. Neither one of us was backing down. You know. Uh, I was ready to go. Whatever. You know.
How is your relationship
Do
like now with him?
I saw Todd in Vegas. Okay, we were staying in the same hotel. So a couple of times that you have to go down that same little corridor, show you your room key to get to the elevator. Seen him there once. Then one night I came in around 4 in the morning and it was just him there. I'm like, oh shit, awkward. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw him, I just gave him the head thing. He gave me back the head thing. I got one on the elevator, and that was it. I don't have no beef with Todd. You know what I'm saying? None. I think that like I think that him and Apollo should have had a real conversation. I don't agree with how Apollo went about it. And maybe Todd didn't want to see Apollo because he was saying things before he even came home. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is with them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that all that can be resolved. 'Cause I agree with you. I think, look, I definitely think it's easy to reconcile because it's not a real deep beef like sometimes when it comes to the wives having their beef. And I think
Yeah.
the beauty about the husbands is you guys were always able to like have beef but get over it within minutes. Now,
Because we're men.
before,
I don't hold
yeah,
I don't hold on to anything. I really don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What is your relationship like now with Cynthia? Do y'all talk?
Yeah, I was kind of mad at her when she was trying to sue me for something that actually belonged to me. Uh, uh,
She tried to sue you for what?
for the property that I have, some dirt that we had bought as a couple. On, um, and we had did an agreement that I was going to buy back her portion back from her because the restaurant was going to do on said property and never developed to anything. We lost like around $800,000 on that deal, but the property was still ours. So I don't know where she came up with the idea to form a lawsuit without even telling me that she was. So when I saw it, everybody was saying, Cynthia suing you for a property or for money. I'm like, what are you talking about? And of course, I went back to the blogs and I saw it. So I sent, I think a couple of $100,000 to my attorney trust fund. And I said, yo, get in touch with her and work this shit out because I'm not giving it to her. Because when I said that, it's before we got a divorce. And then when we got a divorce, I basically said I'm not gonna, even though my attorney and everybody said that, yo, you carried on the show for years and she wouldn't have all this money if it wasn't for you. You need to get 50%. I'd call up Wanda Williams and she let me went on her show and said that I was walking and I wasn't taking anything from this divorce. And but since that was said after I, a year before I said I was going to pay her back for that property. So I just called up and said, yo, you walked and I didn't take anything. I didn't even take the furniture that I bought in the fucking house. I said for you to sell the house and keep all the money. I just didn't want another nigga to come and experience our dream in the house that we got together. You know what I'm saying? That shit is foul to me. When people split up, they should truly start over, fresh. You know, um, And I said, I'm going to have my lawyer send you $100,000 and you drop this lawsuit. And he sent it $100,000 to work out the deal, and the lawsuit was dropped. I kept the property.
Wow.
I talk to her every now and then. I mean, like every now and then, like if I see something and I think that she need a phone call, I would like, yo, how you doing? You good? You know, and I could hear it in her voice. I know her pretty well.
Well, it looks like you're very happy. So, my last question for you is, can we get you back on TV, Peter? We miss you. We love you. You're a legend in our eyes. When can we see you back on TV, Peter Thomas?
I know how time consuming those things are. And my restaurants are actually doing extremely well. You know what I'm saying? So me taking away time from my restaurant to do a show, it have to be a show that I want to do. You know what I'm saying? In order for me to do that show. And I love it. I love the fanfare that comes along with it. You know, you made me famous. You know what I'm saying? There's 100 million people that know my name. You know what I'm saying? Internationally. So that's all because you had the vision to say, hey, look, this fucking show, Atlanta Housewife, is boring as fuck. I'm guys into it to spice it up. And that motherfucker, Peter Thomas, he's going to be my home run. You know, when I think about it, you being the guy that you are right now, you need to cut me a motherfucking check, my nigga.
Oh, you want me to be like Cynthia and give you 15%? Okay. I'll give you 15%, Peter. But better than that, let's talk, Peter. You know, I love you. You're my Libra brother. We're both Libras, which says a lot. We're a day apart in terms of the day, not years.
Yours is the first, yours on the second.
Exactly.
Okay, brother.
And God forbid I do not call Peter on his birthday. He gets an attitude with me.
Yeah, I do.
Just so y'all know.
Because I remember.
No, but Peter, I know you're a busy man, so thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. He just landed, guys. He just got to the crib, and he made sure to talk to me, and this means the world to me. So, Peter, before I let you go, where can people find you, follow you, all those things?
Oh, you can follow me, and people still hate the idea that I have RHOA behind my name, Peter Thomas. But there's a million Peter Thomas in America, and that shit works, so I just leave it like that. So you can find me at Peter Thomas, RHOA, on Instagram. You can find me at Bar One, Baltimore, right on the harbor, you know, half a block from the Four Seasons. Best location, best, prettiest restaurant in all the DMV, baby.
Yes, Peter Thomas! Let them know. Wake it up.